You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, isn't it?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air on a Friday here in the Quad Cities. Friday, March 21st. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We do appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube Live, we appreciate it. We have those everydayers, those everyday people that are always online watching, and we appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to YouTube, please do that. We're getting so close to 800 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you so much, and please join us by doing that as well. Also, we are live on X like we are every day. X has been very, very good to us as well. It's at Matt Randazzo on X, and you can check out the show live each and every day. Thousands upon thousands have been doing that this week. In fact, 3,000 people in one day watched our show on Tuesday, so we appreciate that. Continue to do that. Continue to tell some friends. Tell everybody about what we're doing here in the Quad Cities each and every day at 10 a.m., talking sports and having a whole lot of fun. Also, the show is available via podcast as well. That means you don't have to look at me. And my guests this today are super ugly as well, so you don't want to look at them either. So check us out via the podcasting platforms as well. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can check out the show each and every day. We appreciate those that are already doing that. Subscribe, like, do all the things you have to do to check out the show each and every day, to help us out each and every day as well. It is Friday, and I said today on social media, it is quality over quantity. We will go till about 11:30 today, a little shorter than usual. But as this day has unraveled, the show continues to build. And I'm pretty excited about today's show. In a matter of moments, we're going to be joined by the head coach of the Quad City Steamwheelers, Cory Ross. The Wheelers opening up their season tonight at home against Green Bay. It's a great rivalry. Quad City is going to look a little different this year. They only have 4 players back from last year. We had owner Doug Bland in studio on Tuesday, and he kind of talked about it. It's a super talented group, but a different look. And so the guy that's got to put all those pieces together is Coach Ross. We're going to talk about how he plans on doing that and a lot more coming up with Coach Ross in just a little bit. Also coming up around 10:30, we're going to be joined by the voice of the Iowa women's basketball program. Rob Brooks is in Norman, Oklahoma. The Iowa women play tomorrow in the NCAA tournament against Murray State. We'll get, and Rob's actually headed to the arena right now, so we'll get caught up with Rob. The Iowa women are meeting the media soon. They're having their open practice, and Rob is right in the mix of all of it. So he'll join us soon at about 10:30-ish. And then also coming up around 11 o'clock, an old friend of mine, Michael Admire, used to be someone I worked a lot with when he was at WHO in Des Moines. He is the voice of the Drake basketball program, and everybody has been talking about Drake. Drake winning yesterday for the first time since 1971 in the NCAA tournament. They move on to the round of 32. And, of course, that head coach there is Ben McCollum, a wanted commodity around college basketball, including by the Iowa Hawkeyes as well. So we'll talk to Michael Admire coming up around 11 o'clock about Drake as well. All of this is live. I love it. I feel like I'm back in my old live TV days because nothing is determined. Trying to catch people as they come and as they go in their busy schedules. And we thank everyone for doing that as well. A few quick notes before we get to our first guest. We mentioned we'll talk about our off-the-air bracket challenge pool. There isn't a perfect bracket still right now. We'll talk about that later in the show. Super excited about that. Also, as we mentioned, March Madness is going on. Only one big upset yesterday, and that was McNeese knocking off Clemson. Other than that, not a ton of huge upsets. We talked about Drake, their first victory. Ben McCollum, obviously a wanted commodity by Iowa fans, by West Virginia fans, by a lot of college basketball fans around the program, around the country, I should say. But it is Drake winning. They'll get Texas Tech on Saturday. So we'll talk more about Drake coming up in just a little bit. And also, big day today. Big day in Milwaukee. Iowa State plays at 12:30 against Lipscomb. That game is on TNT. It's Xavier in Illinois tonight at 8:30. probably 9 o'clock, 9:15 before that thing gets started. They're up in Milwaukee, but a later start on CBS, which makes it perfect. You can go down to the Wheelers game, check out the Quad City Steamwheelers, walk across the street to Bad Boys or some establishment in Moline, and then check out some basketball after that as well. We do have some portal news. The Iowa Hawkeyes have another player in the portal. Laje Dembale entered yesterday. By my count, only Traore and Chris Tajdo, the only Iowa basketball players kind of left, not in the portal yet. And that's not saying they won't go as well. And a quick Brock Harding update for you. I do have this. Thursday was a very good day for the former Mr. Basketball in the state of Illinois, former state champion at Moline. Of course, Brock at Iowa his first 2 years. He's in the transfer portal right now. It was a good Thursday, a busy Thursday here in the Quad Cities. As mentioned by Joe Tippin, I can confirm as well, Jamie Dixon from TCU in the Quad Cities yesterday to check out Brock Harding, visit with them. He was one of many, many coaches that came to the Quad Cities yesterday. It was a good day for Brock Harding yesterday. He is still considering things, obviously, right now. He wants to have a list out relatively soon. He wants to. That doesn't mean he will, but he wants to in the near future. So I think it's an impressive list. I think hating Iowa fans will be extremely impressed by the list for Brock Harding when it comes to a possible future home. We'll keep you updated here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We wish Brock Harding, of course, Owen Freeman, the rest of them, the best of luck as well. But we start today with some football. Nothing like March Madness and some football, and we turn to a very familiar face and a buddy of mine, a guy I've gotten to know since 2018. Is that the last time, Coach, did you come to the Quad Cities in 2018?
Yes, I was here. I was here in 2018. That was my first start. We were in the CIF at the time.
So you've had to put up with my goofy self for almost 10 years now, 8 years now. And I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you doing this. We do. We have a great rapport, a great friendship. You've been great enough to come out to my dad's golf outing and support that as well. So super excited and kind of talk about that before we talk about the home opener, because it's not often in I don't want to say minor league football, because it's really not minor league football. It's professional football. But in professional sports, that somebody gets to call a certain area home for, 7, 8 years now? What's it meant for you to be able to call the Quad Cities home and be part of this community for as long as you have?
Well, first, let me just touch on, I'm definitely not, I'm not ugly like you are, by the way. I heard that earlier.
I got you. You.
No, it's been amazing, man. Being able to build relationships here, not only with the partners that want to be involved and help out with what this city needs, and that's entertainment. And what we do is entertain our fans and just really just create something that people in the community can come down to and support. So it's been a blessing for me. Like you said, been able to build some friendships that has gone on, being able to golf at the drop of a hat when need to, and hang out with some of the crews and the friends that I've found out here. It's been really, really nice for sure.
It is a big night for the Quad City Steamwheelers, opening night. I want to get into the X's and O's with you in just a second, but it is opening night. Before we get to all that, what is that like? And I know I talk to coaches a lot, and I'm sure you're right there. Is it like Christmas morning, and especially like this year as well, because you have new toys? It's not like you're unwrapping the same gift that you used to. You got some new toys. What is tonight like, especially in this community, because it is one of the best fan bases in the entire league? What is tonight like for the Quad City Steamwheelers and for yourself?
It's always special for me. It's more exciting than anything, just because it just feels like the wait is over. That off season comes, especially when you get knocked out of the playoffs like we did last year. It feels like it's going to take forever. And now that it's here, it's like, okay, we get to start fresh, brand new. It's like you said, I got some new toys to pull out the garage, and the fans get to see what they look like, and hopefully they're nice and shiny, right? Is how I look at it. But I'm excited about being able to open this open night with our fan base. I mean, our ninth man has been special since day one, since 2018, since I've gotten here, especially on opening day. And it's gonna suck for Green Bay, because when we get that thing going on the first night, and this is their first time they're playing us on opening night, they're gonna hear the fan base we got to hear, in their playoff game they had last year. They had the playoff game that knocked us out with a pretty good fan base. Well, our opening game is just like a playoff game, and our fans show up and show out. So I'm excited about how that atmosphere is going to be, what we're able to show them where we want to be, and how we want to, get this season started off and on the right foot.
Talk more about that, Coach, because Doug Bland was actually in my loft here on Tuesday. I think he's still in my basement. If you're looking for Doug, he might be still hanging out in my basement with my kids. I don't know. But he talked about it. You come to opening night, you go to a Wheelers game, you're going to come back. And I've told people that from, gosh, I remember when this whole thing started. I'm old. I'm a Quad Cityan. I love it. What's that like? Because you would agree, you come out one time, bring out your kids, bring out some of their friends, check out the product, the excitement, the rules of the game. You're going to come back, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. What's so crazy about this game, what I love so much, it's funny, I had to do the radio yesterday, small story. I ended up going to, I got off the radio and I got stuck on the bridge, and it's the Arsenal Bridge. And it was the first time in years that I got stuck on it where the bridge starts to, open up for the boats and stuff. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm sitting there for about 20 minutes and I get hungry. So I'm like, okay. And so I just drive down the street. I Google, the closest bagel place, and it ends up being down in Rock Island. Never been there before. Walk in there, had a phenomenal pizza bagel, and it was phenomenal. But her family was like, yeah, and it just seems like so far away, but her family was like, her son was in there hanging out with her, and she was like, yeah, we've never gone. We were thinking about it and everything. And I just so happened to have 4 vouchers in my pocket. And I'm like, you know what? After I took this bagel and you guys were so polite, I gave her 4 tickets. So I feel that way. I keep vouchers on me because anybody that kind of talks about not going to a game, if I have it with, I give it to them. And then I promise you, probably 2 or 3 days later, at the end of the game where you can come hang out with the fans and coaches and have a conversation about the game, those same people I gave value are coming to the other games because it's like, this has been amazing. This is the funnest thing since I've never been a part of. And it's also pretty cool for me to be able to introduce that to them.
That's a fantastic story. Cory Ross, head coach of the Steamwheelers, joining us right now. It is Green Bay tonight. We talked about some of those toys. And quarterback play is important in this league, Coach. Quarterbacks can make coaches look really, really good. And you got a new QB in Daquan Neal. Kind of talk about a guy that's won 2 MVPs in this league, a guy that you know very, very well. What does he bring to the table? There's not a lot of practice time. I get all that. It goes quick, this training camp, but you know a lot about him already. Talk about that new quarterback of yours.
Yeah, that's the one thing that does go quick is our training camp. The one thing that we do that I've been doing for years, and I'm probably going to give some guys some secrets, but when I sign guys, I give them the playbook, and I'm doing tests. We're meeting doing all October, November, December, all through until we get to report to camp. So it's almost like a camp before camp, and it's basically just visual visual tests, things like that. And he showed up in that first one, the very first test. He's locked in. I think he scored a 90%, and I was shocked because it's usually pretty difficult to get right away if you don't understand it. But it just showed me what kind of veteran he is, and he's the kind of football player that has a chip on his shoulder right now. He had a great season. He also had injuries throughout the season, and so he's kind of like they've forgotten about me, Coach. So I really want to come out here, do it for us, and really just show the league who he is and what he's capable of again. So I'm excited about having him, man. Not only him, there's a couple of players that's gonna shock, not necessarily shock the fans, but they're gonna be excited about seeing and watching.
Doug Bland mentioned that. He said he wanted to come to the Quad Cities. He wanted to be here. Obviously, having a talented guy is important, but also having a guy who wants to be here in the Quad Cities is kind of cool too. Kind of talk about that because he wants to be a Quad City Steamwheeler.
Yeah, it's and these relationships are built. He actually built a pretty good relationship with one of our players on our team that's been with us consistently. And when he became free, he had reached out to him, and he was like, "Do you think Coach Ross would be interested in me?" And he's like, "Man, give him a call, absolutely." And so when me and him got on the phone, we had a great conversation. He said he was for a while. He loves what the offense looks like, and he liked to, try his hand in it.
Oh, we lost Cory there for a second. We'll see if we can get Cory back up and running here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. It is opening night for the Quad City Steamwheelers tonight down at the Weiler Center. Not the Weiler Center anymore. I got to make sure I know. It is Vibrant Arena at the Quad City. So we'll see if we can get Coach up and going once again. But it is opening night. Green Bay versus the Quad City Steamwheelers. Always a great environment as we get ready for opening night here in the Quad Cities between the Steamwheelers and Green Bay. Cory Ross, as he mentioned, been here since 2017, 2018. So a guy that we've gotten to know extremely, extremely well. So we'll see if we can get him back up and running here in a second. So this is the beauty part of the show. I get to play engineer and talk to you people as I go. And hopefully we can get Coach up and running. In fact, I'm going to send him a quick text and tell him to hop back on one more time. But Cory Ross, one of the best in the business each and every year right here in the Quad Cities. Also, coming up on today's show, Rob Brooks will be live in segment number 2, down from Normal, Oklahoma. Iowa. The Iowa women will be in action tomorrow. Against Murray State in the NCAA tournament. So that is exciting as well. So, and then also just talked to my good friend, Michael Admire. He used to be a sports reporter at WHO. Now he's the voice of Drake. And of course, Drake, the talk of the college basketball world right now. They knocked off Missouri yesterday, their first victory in the NCAA tournament since 1971. So, and of course, their head coach, Ben McCullum, the apple of a lot of people's eyes when it comes to the NCAA tournament in college basketball. And I believe we might have Coach back. Look at that. Hold on one second as I go back over there. Coach, we got you. Are you back?
I'm back so far. Maybe I'm talking too fast.
No, I think it might be. It might be. No, you're good. We were talking, and that's well done. And I'm proud of myself more than anything else because I got it. I ad-libbed as we got through it. So, Coach, we were talking about obviously Green Bay and Quad City tonight, and your new QB is somebody that wants to be here in the Quad Cities. Talk about wanting to be part of this community and part of this franchise as well.
Yeah, like I said, him loving the fact that he wants to be a part of it. But the beautiful part about this group we have is the entire unit wants to be a part of it, right? Every conversation we've had over the off season was a little bit literally focused on what do you want to be doing when you're playing this football, but why do you want to be here? You know, we only want guys that want to be here and be a part of this and not necessarily looking for the next best thing. Because sometimes you get caught up being a guy that's looking to I want to go next level. I want to do this. I want to do that. All that is good, and that's everything that we look forward to doing. But right now you got to be where your feet are. And that's what we were looking for in a group of guys to come be a part of this team. And we got about 36 to 38 guys that had to make a brutal cut down to 25, and we did. And this group we have is pretty solid, and hopefully, you know, we stay healthy and we're all here. But they all want to be here, man, and that's the beauty part about that. And I think, you know, tonight when they see our fan base, they're going to be like, yeah, I don't want to go anywhere else. That's the most exciting part about opening night.
Coach, I remember a few years ago, I think 2022, obviously a special ride to the championship. And I remember the beginning of that year because there were newer faces. And you're like, man, it's getting there. It's close. We're here. We're there. But it does take a while to come together and gel, especially with your offense and the things you want to do. With that being said, you have some veterans, especially that new quarterback that knows what it's like to play in this league. What are your expectations this year? There are new faces. There are people that kind of got to get together and know each other. We talked about training camp being quick. I think, what will it be like tonight? And then what could it be like in the future as well? Because I love how your teams get better throughout the season. I think that's one trademark of what you do is they get better throughout the season.
Yeah, that's the key there, right? You know, we do have a nice number of new faces, but what we did was structure the players around not only just being rookies, but guys that played 2 and 3 years that are not necessarily vets, but also have experience in indoor. That helps a lot, right? We took 2022 season, we probably had 2 or 3 guys that were returning from that year, and everybody was almost a rookie. And so it was like they never played indoors, so it's about really getting the understanding of the spacing you got to have like that. You have to get better for. So when you look at our roster now, yeah, new faces, but a lot of them already have had indoor experience. So want to do is start fast, right? It's like you said. Obviously, I think every team wants to get better and be coming and hitting at all cylinders at the end, which we all want to do. But if you start fast too, you can almost create room for you to improve and also give you a little bit of leeway of feeling good about heading into the playoffs and not fighting to get into the playoffs, right? So we want to start fast this year. Obviously, we want to start fast. First game jitters, I think, will be the craziest. We're hoping they're coming out, holding penalties, false starts, illegal defense. It could probably happen, right? We've been working on not getting that and not having that be a possibility on our end. So hopefully we come out with a clean game and we just score points in the red zone. That's what we want to do. We get in the red zone, we got to score. We weren't great at it last year, so the goal this offseason was get great at that.
Steamrollers head coach Cory Ross joining us right now and off the air with Matt Randazzo. And Coach, you talked about Green Bay ending the season a year ago. It's become a good rivalry. There's a lot of great rivalries with the Quad City Steamrollers in this league, and those guys up north have become one of them. And I know there's new guys and not a ton back from last year, but I'm sure that message has been relayed to them that these are the guys that ended our season last year. There's probably got to be a little recent memory to motivate for tonight as well, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I mean, you go back and even look at that game. I just mentioned about how we are in the red zone, man. We were in that game defensively. We played good. I think it didn't score. It ended up being like 34-24, something like that, 22, something like that. And we had an ample opportunity to score down in the red zone. We just didn't capitalize. And you looking back at that game, you get a couple of those back, a couple of drop balls, some things that happened in that game. We probably in that game, and we're probably in the playoffs still, and we might be talking about something else. But that's the key, right? We're trying to make sure we try to fix those things because this team has been solid. Cory Roberson does a great job at coaching his defense for sure. They're returning a couple of players, especially in their quarterback position on the Green Bay offensive side. They're always been solid on defense. So hopefully, we get this thing running and they're working out the kinks too, and we can put up some points. But the expectation is always a great game. We play these guys 4 times a year, 3 times during the season, and we always get the playoffs. And we know each other. We know each other well. It's really going to be about I'm lining up in front of you, you're lining up in front of me. Who's going to win that down? You know what I mean? That's what it's going to turn into, and hopefully we win more downs than they do.
Coach, you look at this game and this sport, the quarterback play is super important, and you're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of offense, all that kind of stuff. But especially in recent years, it seems to me that running game is important. That defense is always important. Talk about those kind of things with your league because it's not just the first to 100 anymore. It feels like the running game, the defense, all of those kind of things. And then talk about your team this year defensively and running game wise and how it's important to be a balanced team like you guys have been in the past.
Oh, absolutely. This league is built to score points, right? So there's certain rules, and I think that cater to the offense a lot more than it do to the defense. So we always talk about getting 3 stops. If you give us 3 stops, we should win. Not a fumble, snap like that. Yeah, we'll take all those, but we're talking about 3 real defensive stops. You give us 3 real defensive stops, we shouldn't get stopped 3 times as an offense, okay? And we should win the game. And if it happens that way, we got to make it balance out that way, right? And you talk about our defense and the group we have. We return Keyshawn Moore was all league, all conference last year. Great stellar defensive lineman. Really he showed up in great shape, become a leader, voted on captain of the defense yesterday. And so pretty proud of that. Malik Duncan's been a staple in this league as far as the strong safety goes. Really hard to run football towards him. So you'll see a lot of the teams going away from him because he's so physical at the point of attack. So it's also special to watch. And you pick up Bubba. We call him Bubba. His name is Alan Arslanian. I don't even want to mess his name up. Arslanian. But we call him Bubba, returning linebacker from last season as well. Trey Smith is a returning DB from last. So you got 4 guys over there that were on that defense with 4 new faces. And some of those new faces are going to make some noise this year. And I'm excited to see what they do. I'm hoping when the lights turn on and their eyes aren't too big, and they can calm down sooner than, you know what I mean? We know how that goes. So I'm excited about this group and what they want to do and what they want to compete. Coach Thurgood is a new defensive coordinator. been doing a great job just trying to communicate, have those guys communicate with each other. And man, we're excited to see where this defense goes, how we start this first game, and how it ends up towards the end of this season, because it has the potential to be pretty good if we stay healthy.
A few more for Coach Cory Ross, the head coach of the Quad City Steamrollers. Opening night tonight down at the Vibrant Arena. What is today like for you, besides getting up early and having to talk to some unemployed guy who's doing a TV show in his loft? What's your day like, an opening night, getting ready? That kickoff probably seems like a week and a half from right now, or does it go quick? Is today a slow-paced day that you can't get here quick enough, or does it fly by and you need more time to get ready?
It really just depends on what they have for me today, right? Coming on here talking to your unemployed self, it's killing my day right now already. No, all kidding aside, man, it's very relaxing, right? I get to mess with the call sheet a little bit more, just to finalize, put some final touches on that, because we've been messing with that throughout the week. Today's final touch, I print that all out, you get a feel good, go down, talk to the quarterback, get on the phone with them, make sure they take a look at the call sheet, things like that, the real simple stuff. Then we have a pregame meal. We get down there about 3 o'clock pregame meal, get a little massage, get a little, chiropractic help just to, calm the nerves. And I try to find a way to take at least a 15, 20-minute nap before the game. If I can find a way, I'll lay under a table and put some shirts over my head just to make it dark, just to get a little nap in. And ever since I've been doing that, I've been waking up feeling good. And now at the end of the day, man, once you get to the point like this where it's game day, you've done everything you can do. You've done everything. There's nothing you can do but let these guys play football and lock in and hopefully make no mistakes, and we come out victorious.
Coach, before we let you go, give that one last plea. People got nothing to do tonight, or they're trying to figure out what to do tonight. I love it down there. It's awesome. I've got to cover it forever. The beauty part for me this year is I can take some boys of mine. My oldest has a high school baseball game tonight, but we might sneak down after that. But besides that, I have more Friday nights available. So I'm excited to not be there with a camera all the time and take my kids and sit in the stands and watch the actual football game itself, not have guys coming at me. I'm almost getting killed behind the boards back there. But what would you say to the fans that don't have anything to do tonight and they're looking for something to do to come and check out a great opening night with the Quad City Steamrollers versus Green Bay?
I tell them to come out, man. Come out. I'm telling you, if you come out, you will not be disappointed. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fast-paced. The music's going to be playing. Even when we're in timeouts, our staff has done a great job of just entertaining our fans through those TV timeouts, things like that. You get to hang out with the coaches, players after the game for another 15 minutes on that field. Let your kids run around on the field, take pictures in the end zone, do a dance in the end zone, enjoy yourselves. The party starts at 7 o'clock. If you want to party tonight, come to the Vibrant Arena. The party is starting there, and it won't end until 1 o'clock, because we got another after party with the team that we'll all be at as well. So check us out, man. Come out tonight, 7 o'clock. You won't be disappointed. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. It's the first one of the year, and it's going to be a big game against Green Bay.
Coach, I appreciate you doing this. I'll talk to you a lot throughout the season. Thank you for your friendship and all that stuff over the years, and we'll talk real soon. I'm excited. I missed this Wednesday because I had an interview I had to do. I'll be there for the free food next Wednesday. I promise. I'm still media.
You never throw away a free meal. I was wondering where you were, but I got you.
I got you next week. Hey, good luck tonight. Get a win, and we'll talk to you real soon. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. That is head coach Cory Ross of the Quad City Steamrollers joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Friday, because it is opening night for the Quad City Steamrollers down at Vibrant Arena. They take on Green Bay, 7 o'clock. So get down there, enjoy the atmosphere, and enjoy the game. And I mentioned, I know there's a lot with March Madness and all that kind of stuff, but Iowa State's playing here at 12:30. So that has nothing to do with it. Illinois ain't going to start till like 9 o'clock, 9:15. Go to the game, check out the game. Perfect timing. Go head across the street someplace if you want to watch the Illini, do that, or stick and stay and check out the post-game party. But it is the Quad City Steamrollers and Green Bay doing battle tonight down on the turf at Vibrant Arena. Can't wait for that. And we'll talk much more about the Wheelers throughout the season right here. Also great to have Doug Bland in the house last week. or earlier this week, I should say, on Tuesday. So really cool to see him as well and catch up with him. So Quad City Steamwheeler season is officially here, and that is a very, very good thing. Well, we got a lot more to get to on today's show. Coming up, efforting to get Rob Brooks lined up and on the show. He is down in Norman, Oklahoma with the Iowa women, so we'll get you set for the Iowa women and their game tomorrow at 11 o'clock against Murray State. And then also hoping later in the show to be joined by Michael Admire, the voice of the Drake Bulldogs. Talk to him about Drake and what they've been doing. An awesome ride with them. And also their head coach seems to be of interest to a lot of fans around the state of Iowa and here in the Midwest as well. So a lot more to get to. You're watching, I should say, Off the Air on a Friday right here. We will be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Friday here in the Quad Cities. Thank you guys so much for watching. It is a busy time. March Madness is in full swing, and it's a busy time for the guy that's about to joining us right now. The voice of the Iowa women's basketball program in a bus somewhere in Norman, Oklahoma. Rob Brooks joins us. Thank you for doing this, young man. You're super busy to take time to deal with some unemployed guy here in the Quad Cities. How is Norman, Oklahoma right now, Rob?
Well, we just pulled up to the Lloyd Noble Center, and Hawkeyes will have some media obligations, and then practice for about an hour and a half, and get ready to go early tomorrow morning. It's interesting too, the fact that you look at the Big Ten tournament, and Iowa played pretty much at 9 o'clock at night on the East Coast, and then obviously to start the NCAA tournament, you have to get up early and get energized and activated and ready to go for an 11 a.m. tip tomorrow.
It is an exciting time for the Iowa women. What is the vibe? I want to set the stage because you're there, you're with them. What is the vibe with this team? I know they've been a fun group throughout the season, especially of late. What is the vibe in Oklahoma and maybe the confidence factor as they get ready to hit the floor tomorrow?
Yeah, I think this is a real confident team, and obviously would have liked to win another game or so in the Big Ten tournament, but played really well and avenged that loss to Michigan State. That was a big deal. And then to get into the quarterfinals and take Ohio State to the wire once again, as they did in Columbus, got that game into overtime. So as Jan Jensen has talked, and you get the feel from the players as well, that they're playing their best basketball of the year. And the nice thing is, I think, from the Big Ten women's tournament to the NCAA, is you get a week off. So you get a chance to kind of reassess things, maybe a change, not the lineup, but the way Ava Hayden came on in those last two games. You would expect that she's going to continue to get more time. She had, 20 points in two games, limited minutes against Michigan State and Ohio State. So you got an opportunity to do that and a week to get better. And you just get the feeling that this team is really confident coming in, but not an easy draw. And it all starts tomorrow when you got a team like Murray State that kind of roared through the MVC tournament. And we know how good Drake is and didn't really have any problem with them in the semifinal game, and then dismantled Belmont. But Murray State's not a team that has a lot of tournament experience. This particular group has not been to postseason, so it'll be interesting to see the contrast of a ton of experience, size up front, versus a team that loves to shoot the three.
Coach, all right, Coach. Rob, you mentioned it because the experience factor does favor Iowa. And Caitlin and Kate and Gabby and all those young ladies are gone. But you talk about Hannah, you talk about some of the players still back. And then even Lucy at Villanova, people kind of forget she went to a Sweet 16 at Villanova. So there is a huge experience factor when it comes to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Kind of talk about that because they're comfortable in this situation, aren't they?
I think so. You talk about Sydney and Kylie, obviously, as well. Taylor McCabe has been on those teams. Hannah, you mentioned. And then Addie O'Grady as well. She's got a lot of tournament experience and good tournament experience. So you got those players to lean on. And then the freshmen, they've been through a full year now. Yes, it's the NCAA tournament, but they've been to the Big Ten tournament. They've played in front of big crowds. And now you're almost in your sophomore season. You've got over 30 college games under your belt, numerous practices. So you got to take that next step. And this is March. This is the time to do it.
Rob, you look at it, and usually Iowa's at home. You're usually not on a bus right now. You're usually in Carver Hawkeye. And I'm sure they'd love to be there. I'm not saying that. But there is a different experience to it when you're on the road, when you're experiencing being in a different arena, getting your practice time, all that kind of stuff. Talk about that for the ladies, because it's always good to be home, but this is fun too, because you get that feeling of being at the NCAA tournament and all of those kind of things. What's it been like in Norman? And this is different for the Iowa Hawkeyes when it comes to not being at Carver Hawkeye Arena.
It is. This hasn't happened since 2018. When Iowa played a first-round game against Creighton out in Los Angeles. And since COVID, it's obviously been at home. And you remember Caitlin Clark's sophomore year, Iowa got beat by Creighton in the second round at Carver Hawkeye Arena. So I think there is one positive to this. We all know the reasons to be at home, and you want to be at home, but there is that internal pressure that if you are hosting the first and second rounds, that hey, you ought to win these games, no problem, and get to the Sweet 16. So that pressure is off. That's on Oklahoma here, and Iowa can take that to heart, I think, and say, hey, we're here, we're the underdog. We don't mind being in this position. Love to be at home, but that's not the case. So we'll just kind of take that underdog role and go play. It's the same for everybody on Saturday. It's going to be a little bit different on Monday if Iowa and Oklahoma both get to that point in time. So I think that's the one benefit of it, because you go back and look, and as I look back at the last 2 years, the toughest games to me outside of the Final Four were in the second round. Georgia a couple of years ago, anybody's ball game inside of 2.5, 3 minutes, and West Virginia gave Iowa all they wanted down the stretch last year. So I think it's in the last 2 years, it's more of a relief. This would certainly be more of a euphoric scenario to get this team to the Sweet 16.
Rob, what has Norman been like? Because Iowa City has embraced women's basketball and these Hawkeyes. I mean, it was an environment. It was amazing. Is the electricity there? Kind of talk about that, because Oklahoma, they have a fantastic program, a 3 seed and all that kind of stuff. It's hard to match what Iowa City does. I get that. But what's the environment, the atmosphere been like since you've been there down in Oklahoma?
Well, as you well know, this is football country. And we just passed the football stadium, and you talk about impressive facilities. They got the Barry Switzer Center and indoor practice facilities, and the stadium itself is impressive. And then you remember the softball team here is won 3 or 4 straight national championships. Unbelievable facility right up the street. This is not going to be Carver, but that's 99% of the places around the country. But Oklahoma fans come out, and there is a little buzz in the area, but nothing like Iowa City. So it will be interesting to see tomorrow how many people will be there on a Saturday afternoon. I think it'll be a good atmosphere. How many people come early, since Iowa and Murray State, the first game before Florida Gulf Coast and Oklahoma. And then it'll be interesting on Monday as well, how many fans will be there. I think it'll be a good crowd, but it's not going to be anywhere near what we've experienced in Iowa City.
Rob Brooks joining us. He's on a bus, so I'm not going to keep him very long. I got a couple more quick ones for you. Murray State, you talked about him a little bit, and they gave Drake, they handled, Drake had a fantastic performance. I can't think of her name, but she scored 45 points. But they did win the Valley in an impressive fashion. What do they look like? I know they like to shoot it, but what can Iowa fans expect from Murray State tomorrow? You see Murray State in a bracket, and you kind of look past to Oklahoma. Iowa can't do that. This is a pretty good basketball team.
Well, it is. Yeah, Katie Dinnebeer had an incredible game against Murray State. It went for 45, but she also scored 40 against Iowa State and 40 against Iowa as well. So she was an All-American and a great performance. I think when you look at the scouting report for Murray State, Caitlin Young is the player that really stands out to the coaching staff. She's 6'1", graduate player, and is a 38% three-point shooter, which pretty much the entire starting lineup is for Murray State. More than half of their shots are from three, and they play that 4-out, 1-in type of offense and want to try to get a three-pointer in transition. If they don't, try to get to the basket. If that doesn't work, they'll kick it out and try to get that three ball going. They were 9 of 25 against Drake from three, so they shot 59 times in that semifinal game, and 25 of them were threes.
Wow.
And they also do a good job getting to the free throw line. So it's not just one or two players that can knock down three-pointers. It's pretty much the starting five, but it's not a deep team. They pretty much only go 7 deep. And Iowa, of course, has more depth, more size. So I think from a game plan standpoint, you want to play defense. You want to get out on the perimeter. And then you want to make sure offensively you get touches inside, whether it's Hannah, Ava, Addie O'Grady, and then play that inside-outside game and not get into a three-point shooting contest with this team.
All right, Rob, this is the first time in a long time that I haven't been on the road this time of year. And I know what it's like going to Big Ten tournaments, to NCAA tournaments. It's not good on my waistline, is what I always tell my wife. And I love going to places and eating. And like we went to Buffalo a few years ago with Iowa, and I had to have the buffalo wings. And Indianapolis, I have my spots and all that kind of thing. When you get to Oklahoma, I'm going to live vicariously through you just for a second. Is it barbecue? Is it a big steak? Have you done it yet? Like, what's that thing you got to get when you're Oklahoma to treat yourself a little bit? You're on the road, Rob, you're a hard worker. You're on the road. You need to treat yourself something nice.
Well, you got to get in the gym. Huh? That's the key thing in the morning, right?
Right.
Work all that off. We went to an unbelievable place last night, the Ranch Steakhouse. And I tell you what, I've been to all of them. And this was right up there. I was really, really impressed. So got that done last night. It won't be much today because just an early turnaround tomorrow. Get up and get rolling, and then we'll see what happens on Saturday night. But we rolled into town yesterday afternoon. Had that big 14-ounce New York strip. So I'm in good shape for today. Already worked it off and ready for the next one.
That's the key. You're right, because people would make fun of me. I would in the media hotel. I go hit that elliptical or whatever it was,
Yep.
And my buddy who would be with me, my photographer, would laugh at me. But you got to do it. You can't. Hey, Rome wasn't built in a day. You can't look as good as you and I do if you don't hit the gym every once in a while.
Yeah.
So
we're in great shape, right?
Exactly. So Rob,
and my room, I have no excuse because my room is about 5 yards to the workout facility. So I can't pass it.
Yeah, it calls to you as you walk past. Rob, have you been here yet today?
I gotta get
so
there.
you got to get there. Hey, what I always do, and I encourage everybody to do it, is I always turn the TV down, and I always listen to Rob Brooks when it comes to Iowa women's basketball. Good luck on the call tomorrow. And I can't tell you much. I was texting our mutual friend, Johnny Marks, which I always have to mention every time you're on. It's part of the contract. And I can't be more thankful for what you've been doing for my show. And every time Iowa women's basketball is big as ever. And for me, a goofball who's hanging out in his loft right now, to have the voice of Iowa women's basketball take the time on a bus to join me in your busy day. I appreciate you. You're a good friend. Have a great call tomorrow, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words, and tell Johnny hello.
I will do that. Rob Brooks in Norman, Oklahoma right now, getting ready to work. They I know these days well. You got to get in there. They have some media availability. They hit the court. They have an open practice for a little bit, and they get ready because it's Iowa and Murray State tomorrow in the women's NCAA tournament. Of course, a possible matchup with Oklahoma looming in round 2 if they can take care of Murray State tomorrow. So, and it is different. It's different for the Iowa women to be on the road right now. They're used to being at Carver Hawkeye Arena, and you look at their season as a whole. Boy, they're a bad stretch of close games away from maybe hosting right now, but playing really good basketball right now. So we'll see if they can get the job done and take care of business tomorrow. Also, we will wish Iowa State good luck as well. They won against Princeton. Win number 800 for Bill Fenley. That's the goal after all this settles down is to get Bill Fenley on the show as well. 800 and counting when it comes to the Iowa State women. So Iowa and Iowa State still alive in the NCAA tournament. And of course, we'll keep an eye on them. We wish them the best of luck as well. The men's NCAA tournament going on as we speak. And of course, a big day in Milwaukee. We have Iowa State getting ready to tip off in less than 2 hours. They're one of the first games of the day. Iowa State will take on Lipscomb in the first round of the NCAA tournament up in Milwaukee. And then also coming up tonight, 8:45-ish, but we know how that kind of works. It'll be Xavier versus Illinois from Milwaukee as well. Illinois opened as a 3-point favorite, and they're now at 4. So the line people liking the Illini. I think I like the Illini today as well. I know I do. I like Iowa State as well. So we wish them both the best of luck. And if you're wondering about Iowa and Illinois talk, or Iowa State and Illinois talk, I should say, we had it throughout the week. So if you're looking to get yourself ready, we had Ked Prince on the show on Monday. Go check out that show. Ked Prince was on talking about the Illini. And then yesterday, Jim Madsen, just before he left for Milwaukee, joined us to talk about the matchup between Xavier and Illinois. Those shows are right there on the YouTube channel, so go check out those shows from Monday and Thursday. And then also we had Jake Brend from WI, our cyclone expert, on Wednesday. So go check out those shows as well. Well, coming up after the break, we got a couple things. We're going to update everybody on our off-the-air bracket challenge, and then in just a matter of 10 minutes or so, we're going to be joined by Michael Admire, the voice of the Drake Bulldogs. Yeah, Drake. Big story last night. Maybe the story of day one, winning for the first time in the NCAA tournament since 1971. And that head coach of theirs, Ben McCollum. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's the apple of a lot of people's eye right now when it comes to college basketball. So Michael Admire joining us really soon around 11 o'clock. So we're efforting to get him on as well. So a lot going on here and Off the Air on a Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back right after this with much, much more. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop, at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo, now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high, each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfathers is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Friday here in the Quad Cities. A beautiful Friday. Gorgeous outside, but don't head out there too soon. Keep watching the show and then watch a whole lot of March Madness, because we're joined now by a very familiar face from me, Michael Admire, a longtime friend of mine. Michael, I haven't talked to you in way too long. I've been watching from afar. Absolutely love what you're doing. Of course, Michael worked many years at WHO and had to put up with me very often, Michael, calling you and saying, Michael, I need this, Michael, I need that, and you were always there to help out. How have you been, my friend?
Man, I'm great. I'm living on Cloud 9 right now, obviously, with what went down last night here in Wichita. You do only call me when you need something, but it's always for good reasons, though, and it's always a pleasure on my end, because Matt, you're as good as they come, man. So thanks for having me on your new show. You're killing it with this, by the way.
I appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun. I like to joke I'm an unemployed guy in my loft right now, but I have sponsors, my friend, which means I'm not unemployed anymore. I'm actually making a little money, which makes my wife happy. But we're not here to talk about me. It's about the Drake Bulldogs and that name across your chest right now. When you got on, you were loving it. You were doing that. Last night was fun, a lot of fun, and we should say you're the voice of Drake Bulldog basketball right now. You've way passed up myself and Keith Murphy that held you down for all those years, and Chris Hassel and all those yahoos that kind of held you back when you were trying to soar. What's it like right now to be part of this program, part of that team? And obviously last night was special. We'll talk about the game in a second, but this group and that university, because it wasn't just this year, it's been one heck of a run for Drake basketball.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words what we're experiencing down here in Wichita right now. I mean, last night was the culmination of so much. I mean, so much hard work going back to the middle of the summer. When this team started to come together, and Coach Mack starts to bring in, all these players from Division II and transfer guys and JUCO guys, and starts building his coaching staff, and we saw the work that they put in to get to this point. But then you also think about the culmination of so much loyalty from our Drake fans that for 54 years had gone without being in the round of 32 of the NCAA tournament. And not just that, had gone through decades of dismal basketball. But last night, the sounder goes off, the buzzer goes off in Wichita, and emotions just start pouring out onto the floor. There were grown men crying in the stands. That's when this is more than just sports. There were, a ton of emotions on the floor from, these kind of overlooked, understated, underestimated basketball players, many of which that were passed up by the program that they beat last night. Many of the players for Drake from the Show Me State, Missouri. And it was the Bulldogs showing the world last night what they were capable of. And you just bring all that stuff together. Saw Dolph Polium, Drake legend from the 1969 Final Four team. He's down here. He was in his jersey this morning at breakfast at the hotel with a big old, smile on his face. You got the director of athletics, Brian Harden, down here. The coaches are on the phone talking to their families and friends, and everybody's just really soaking this up right now. Bennett Sturt's the star of the game last night. He's been the star of this team, and I say he's not just the star, he's the sun, because everything revolves around him. He was on his phone last night watching Charles Barkley talk about him, and he was just like, this is out of body. This is so surreal and really cool. So you have all of these things coming together for such a special moment in Wichita, and we are enjoying every minute of this right now.
Kind of talk about that, Michael, and you did a little bit, but it's maybe a cheesy comparison, but I'm a Lions fan, and so for so many years I watched bad football, and then the last couple of years, and it shows what sports means, and I think it's even more so on the college level. Pros are one thing, but the college level and these alums and these Drake Bulldogs that bleed Drake basketball, to have that happen last night, and it was an impressive game, and we'll talk about the game a little bit too, but it means more. And to see that and to kind of exhale and see it all happen, it had to have been surreal for you.
Yeah, I was joking with a couple of the Drake staff members this morning. I was like, how could you have stayed loyal to Drake for the 30 plus years of losing basketball? I mean, that was some tough basketball to watch for much of their life. And there was a group of alum from 1971 that came down here. They sat behind the Drake bench. They had on their white shirts, blue ties to match Coach McCollum. And I mean, they were soaking it up, and they had waited so long, 54 years, to be able to experience another, NCAA tournament win outside of the first four, and they got it yesterday, and it's so cool to see that part of it. I mean, the players and coaches, they put a ton into it. They deserve everything that is coming their way. They deserve the spotlight, and they're getting it. They're getting their flowers right now. Drake is the most talked about team in sports right now. And I hope the players are enjoying this, because I know the fans have really enjoyed watching them play and watching them do what they've done this season.
Michael Admire joining us now, the voice of the Bulldogs. Let's talk about that game, because it was a great start. And as you know, in almost every March Madness or college basketball game, there's going to be a run. And Missouri had their run and made it close. And talk about just the response of the Bulldogs to be able to, take that punch back and have Uncle Mo switch to Missouri side and then go on and win by double figures or whatever it was. It just kind of talks more about this group, and you know this group really well, but they responded. They have all year. They've won 31 games, Michael. It's crazy, but they have all year, and that's exactly what they did on the biggest stage last night.
Yeah, that's what we've seen every single game. Down in St. Louis at Arch Madness, down 12, they respond. Bradley had a push in the Arch Madness championship game. Bulldogs respond and blow it up into a double-digit victory. Go back to the Charleston Classic back in late November, playing teams from the SEC and Vanderbilt and Miami and FAU. And, those teams had their runs in them. But all year long, Drake has responded, and that's when people are like, how does Drake keep doing it? They're smaller and less athletic and all this stuff than maybe some of their opponents. Don't shoot the ball as well, all those things, but the evidence is there. The evidence over 34 games now keeps piling up that shows you that this team can handle whatever is thrown their way, and it has been incredible to see how they respond to it. Drake was up 15 in the second half, and this Missouri Tiger team at one point had 28 points in 26 minutes of play. Missouri is one of the top scoring offenses in all of college basketball. They're ninth in the NCAA in scoring. And Drake held them to, for a majority of the game to just barely over a point per minute. It was a defensive clinic, but Missouri, they can score, and they had their run, a 10-0 run. They start creeping closer and closer to Drake, who for the fans had a little deja vu, because the last 2 years, Drake has had a lead late in the game and had lost it. You even go back to 2008. Bulldogs force, we don't even have to rehash it, the Western Kentucky buzzer beater. But, there have been some moments in these Drake fans' minds that started to creep up, and it had a little feeling of, this can't happen again, can it? But this team hadn't had the scars of the past. This is a new group. This is a new coaching staff. And again, the resiliency of this team we've seen all year, it showed up. Missouri got within one, 52-51. After a missed free throw, Drake then gets 2 back-to-back buckets. All of a sudden, they're back up by 5. They make the plays down the stretch, breaking Missouri's press. You get a couple lob plays, a couple dunks, and it turned into a party after that.
You talked about the atmosphere afterwards. Michael Admire joining us right now in Topeka, Kansas, right? Wichita.
Wichita.
Excuse me, Wichita. You talked about the celebration afterwards. We kind of saw it with the fans in the stands, and I know the players were pumped as well. You're still smiling today. I get it, and it's awesome. I don't think that the players are still celebrating. Kind of talk about that, because this team has more to do. I know that was a big checkbox, and hey, let's get this off let's get that victory in the NCAA tournament. But they're a game away from the Sweet 16 and an interesting, and I believe a good matchup against Texas Tech. This is nice. A Sweet 16 would be really sweet, Michael. Kind of talk about this team, because you've been around them all year. I doubt they're content with just winning one game there in Wichita.
Yeah, the fans are floating through Wichita right now. I mean, everybody's enjoying this. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, went to bed at 1 a.m. last night, and it's all text messages and, talking to fans in the lobby and all the Drake staff here. Yeah, we're enjoying it. But I was really impressed by how this team responded in the locker room. They're like, hey, this is fun. That was a good celebration. It wasn't like, a crazy celebration by any means, but it was a good celebration. They had their fun. And then they were quickly talking about, we're not done yet. We feel like we can really do something special. And it sets up this matchup with Texas Tech, which, sometimes Hollywood can't even produce a script like what we've seen this year with the D2 guys and JUCO transfers and, all these cast-offs, if you will, doing what they've done. But how about this? Coach McCaslin from Texas Tech, Ben McCollum from Drake, longtime friends, best friends. A couple assistants on the Texas Tech squad, really close with the Drake staff. So they know each other really well. And in fact, they know each other so well that back in October, they scrimmaged. They set up one of those, preseason scrimmages down in Lubbock. Drake flies down there. They play Texas Tech. There's not a lot that comes out of there. But you start to hear how Drake kept it close and how Bennett Sturts at times was the best player on the floor. And that was the first time that this Drake team had played somebody not other than them. They only have 12 players. So, the scrimmages were kind of getting redundant. They go down to Texas Tech, and they are kind of there stride for stride throughout the scrimmage. And then in some of the preseason conversations at the preseason media day, a lot of the players and even Coach Mack, they're like, that game against Texas Tech really has given us this confidence going into the season that we can do something special. We feel like we can play now with anybody in the country. And for a lot of people that hadn't seen them play yet, you're like, what? You can play with anybody in the country? Let's get past Florida Gulf Coast first. And what have they done? They've gone 31-3, and now they have a win in the NCAA tournament, and it's going to come full circle playing Texas Tech.
It is. When you look at that matchup, Michael, basketball-wise, talk to me, because you watched Texas Tech in a dogfight yesterday as well. 2 good basketball games down there as well, and they know each other. The similarities, that's awesome information to know. What does Drake have to do to be successful? I don't think they're not going to reinvent the wheel. They are what they do, and they do it at a high level. Kind of talk about the X's and O's of this game coming up on Saturday.
I do think it's going to come down to, protecting the basketball, don't turn it over, but then also, force turnovers on the defensive end, get the box outs, limit offensive rebounds, and then, defend the 3-point line, get back in transition, like all those things that we've talked about all year long with this Drake basketball team. That's the core. That's the foundation. That's what's going to have to show up. It was interesting. Texas Tech, I think it was 48 or 49 3-point attempts last night, the most in Texas Tech program history. So they were settling for some shots. One of their best players was out last night. Don't know what his status will be for Saturday. But it doesn't matter who Drake plays. it is going to be about what the Bulldogs do. And if the Bulldogs can, stick to what they do best and play their game and play hard for 40 minutes, if they do all those things, you hope it's enough to be on top at the end. X's and O's wise, I'm still I haven't had much sleep, and we're cranking out. I also do some content help with our team, so we're cranking out content and having podcast conversations like this. I watched a little bit of Texas Tech last night. I haven't really dove into conversations with the coaches. We'll do that a little bit this afternoon. So I can't break it down X's and O's wise for you, but I think that gives you a little sense of what this team's about, though. Yeah.
No, absolutely. A few more for you because I know you are busy. I have to ask you about Ben McCullum. And that's some guy you've gotten to know really, really well. So for maybe interested Iowa fans, maybe a West Virginia fan watching from who knows where or whatever, what's Ben McCullum like? We see him as the basketball coach. We know we see the body of work, the resume. What's he like as a human being, as an individual, as a guy?
Well, when he stepped on campus back in April at his opening press conference, and sometimes those are fluff press conferences. You hit a couple lines you want to hit and you get out of there. Coach Mack really dove into some topics of conversation, basically, saying we're going to build a team, we're going to build a program, and we're going to establish a culture that is sustainable, that is long-lasting, not just within the program, but within the community. They want to show the world what it can be like, what community and connectivity and working for each other and celebrating each other, what that can do. And Coach Mack is a man of his word. He did that. He did it his way. He found guys that were going to be committed to his philosophy, to the culture, to being tough and gritty on the defensive end. He said yesterday in his press conference, or maybe a day ago, that everything's beginning to blend together now. But he said his superpower is being able to find champions and being able to find winners. A 4-time national championship at Northwest Missouri State, and now in one season, the most wins in Drake program history, and the first win in the NCAA tournament outside of the first 4 since 1971. So, all those things are awesome. And I will say one thing. You saw how Drake plays. They play for each other. They're tough. They're going to fight for 40 minutes. They're going to give it their all. This Drake community, Drake alumni, Drake donors, Drake administration, Drake staff, everybody has seen that. And I believe they're going to embody that as we move forward. So I can promise you Drake is not going to go down without a fight.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. One more for you. He's got to hear, you got to hear, the team's got to hear the noise outside of it when it comes to what's next for Coach McCullum. How has he handled it from the outside looking in, and you're there every day, just as you would expect, like a pro? But how has this team himself handled the noise from everywhere else? Because they are in the state of a state that has a coaching opening and all the rumors that come along with it. How has he handled out that? And obviously pretty well, because he keeps on winning basketball games, which is remarkable.
Yeah, what I keep pointing to is the evidence. And look at last night. I mean, that's how they're responding.
No, that's a great way to finish it. Here's what I love, Michael. I'm going to let you go. But I don't have to worry about – I've had a lot of guests on, and they've had bad headroom. They've had dark. You are well lit. You are framed correctly. I mean, it's almost like you did local TV for a few years, huh?
Honestly, the shot's driving me crazy. I had a couple of different locations. I've got a pillow here to make sure that the laptop's – more elevated because the table wasn't high enough. The lighting's decent, but it's what I could work with here at the Drury Inn in Wichita. There aren't many quiet places at the Drake Team Hotel right now, I'll tell you that much.
I love it. You look great. And I'll tell everybody this. I texted Michael at 9:30. And dude texts me right back and says, how about 11? And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This is outstanding. So I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you've done for me in the past. And I'm one of your biggest fans watching from the Quad Cities. Keep killing it. Keep doing good things. Go enjoy a Sweet 16, will you?
Hey, that would be fun. I appreciate you, Matt. That's big time, man. We're going to keep having fun. We're going to keep telling this Drake story. And I know the Bulldog fans are going to enjoy this. And, hey, everybody in the state of Iowa, might as well just hop on the Bulldog bandwagon. We'll wave the banner for the state. I know Iowa State's got a game going on later today, but this is a team that I think everybody throughout the state of Iowa and from West Coast to East Coast can really look to as an example and be proud of that. This is happening on the biggest stage.
Michael Admire, the voice of the Drake Bulldogs. We appreciate you, my friend. Go, get some rest or try to get some rest. And we'll talk to you soon. Appreciate you.
All right, my man. Catch you later.
All right. Michael Admire from Wichita, Kansas, talking about or Topeka. Is it Wichita or Topeka? It's Wichita. I keep on getting it messed up. But talking Drake basketball, awesome for him to do that. And great insight on Ben McCollum, because obviously I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, what's Ben McCollum going to do? Michael doesn't know what Ben McCollum's going to do. But what he can talk to is what he has done and what he continues to do at Drake. And he's done a fantastic job of doing that over the last year here at Drake. So we're going to take one more quick timeout and then kind of wrap up the show and talk about our pool one more time, because I don't know how well that did in the third segment, and some Brock Harding news as well. All that and much more after a quick break right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's funny because I started the day by saying, hey, it's quality over quantity when it comes to today's show, because I was going to take off a little early and get ready for a baseball game for my son and watch a little basketball. But how about this? Throughout the day, we've talked to head coach of the Quad City Steamrollers, Cory Ross, which was outstanding. We talked to Rob Brooks in a bus down in Norman, Oklahoma, as he gets ready to call the Iowa women's basketball game tomorrow. And then we just followed it up with my buddy Michael Admire, the voice of Drake basketball, talking to us from the team hotel about the Drake Bulldogs winning their first game in the NCAA tournament since 1971. Drake now with an opportunity to head to the Sweet 16. They'll take on Texas tomorrow. We wish Drake the best of luck. Also, we talked a little Ben McCollum because that's a hot topic when it comes to coaching searches around the area, especially with the University of Iowa. But Ben McCollum focused on Drake and hopefully maybe a Sweet 16 coming up later on this weekend. Wanted to recongratulate. I don't know if my microphone was working in the third segment. I think it was, but I found a button, and sometimes technology and me don't jive. So I really want to point out and congratulate. Right now, there's one person in our bracket for Off the Air with Matt Randazzo bracket challenge. Jerry Burkhead. Jerry Burkhead, the baseball guru, former baseball coach at Outlaw High School. Who knew that basketball was his actual specialty? A perfect bracket so far for Jerry Burkhead. I think 16 for 16 would be what it would be. So we wish him the best, but it's early, Jerry. Don't get too cocky. It's early. Sometimes things do well early, like AEW, and then they falter when things get going. So you never do know what happens. But Jerry Burkhead, I read today 0.09% of all brackets in America are perfect right now. 0.09. And Jerry's got one of them in our bracket. in our bracket challenge. We want to thank Godfather's Snoop's Chips and Salsa and enchiladas and all the great food, and Hungry Hobo for supporting our bracket challenge this year. Our inaugural one. We'll have many more of them as we continue throughout, hopefully, the years right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Also, we did talk earlier in the show about Brock Harding and what I could tell you and what I knew. It was a busy day yesterday with Jamie Dixon, one of many coaches and schools. Jamie Dixon, the head coach of TCU, stopping by and visiting Brock Harding here in the Quad Cities. Brock just put out, or through Joe Tipton, I should say, put out his 6 schools, down to 6 schools right now. Louisville, Oklahoma State, South Carolina, TCU, Texas Tech, and Washington. So one Big Ten team in Washington, 2 teams that are in the NCAA tournament or were in the NCAA tournament. Louisville lost yesterday. Texas Tech won yesterday. They'll play Drake coming up on Saturday. Also, Oklahoma State, South Carolina, and TCU. So I'll ramble them off one more time. Louisville, Oklahoma State, South Carolina, TCU, Texas Tech, and Washington. It's weird. It's weird because I swear I looked at Twitter or X or wherever it was when Brock jumped in the portal and like I'd say a third or half of you ass clowns were talking about how Brock was going to go to Co or Ambrose or DMAC, mid-major schools. God, I'm still looking for the mid-majors. Maybe I can reread it. No, wait, this is a one hell of a list so far for Brock Harding. So it's weird for all the haters out there that say all the things they say. And when it comes to actual basketball people, they flock to the Quad Cities to try to get Brock Harding to spend 2 years at their university. Of course, we wish Brock the best of luck. We'll continue to monitor the transfer portal as always. Owen Freeman still in the transfer portal. All of the Iowa basketball team, basically, except for, I think, Traore and Tajdow are the only 2 that aren't in yet. And I haven't looked at Twitter or X in a while, so maybe they're in now. But a lot of the Iowa basketball team in the portal. We'll continue to monitor that as well. So best of luck. Iowa State is about an hour away from tip against Lipscomb. I have them in my Elite 8. I have money on them in the Final Four. Wish they had their whole team and they weren't injured, but we'll see how they do today. We wish the Cyclones the best of luck. Also, good luck to the Fighting Illini. They are now a 4-point favorite over Xavier this evening at 8:45. We want to thank Cory Ross, the head coach of the Wheelers, for being on the show to start things off. Make sure you get down to the Vibrant Arena tonight and check out the Wheelers versus Green Bay in their home opener. Also, we want to thank Rob Brooks for taking the time on a bus in Norman, Oklahoma to chat with us about Iowa women, and they get ready for their game coming up tomorrow against Murray State. Most importantly, I want to thank you for getting through a Friday and an entire week on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Technology got me a few times today, but I think for the most part, we accomplished what we need to accomplish. And it was another fun show and fun week of shows on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. This weekend, catch up with all the shows. Head to the YouTube channel. It's Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Make sure you're subscribing. You can check out all the shows from throughout the week. We had Frank Garza on Monday. Tom Caker was on Monday. Ked Prince was on Monday. On Tuesday, Doug Bland, the owner of the Quad City Steamrollers, was in the house. Also, Brian Stocking, Jay Liana Guy, a new commit to Stanford, and much more. On Wednesday, we had T-Roy and Kakert again and Jake Brend. Matt Drinkle yesterday from Central Michigan, the new head football coach at Central Michigan, a Bettendorf product, was on yesterday. Check out that interview. We literally hit everything you could possibly imagine. A lot of fun with Matt Drinkle. So check out all the shows. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll be back here on Monday with a new week of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. And also, after 1 week off, we let Pat take a little break. It'll be Always Angerer on Monday, as we always do here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. So enjoy the weekend. We'll see you guys back here on Monday on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo.